In the previous part, we understood what is data and what is an information. Now we'll move on from there. We'll understand in this part how the data storage and processing have evolved over a period of time. Before we really get into that, we'll peek into a history. We know Charles Babbage invented the computer. Somewhere in 1822, he conceived a stream-driven calculating machine that would be able to compute the tables of numbers. From that day onwards, multiple mathematicians, multiple scientists contributed to the development of the computers. One of the very significant contribution is from Alan Turing. He's a British mathematician. He developed something called universal machine, which is also called as Turing machine. In this case, Turing machine was capable of computing anything that is computable. This became the central concept of the modern computer. Based on this idea, upcoming scientist or mathematician, they developed this idea further and took it to the development of modern day computers. Then, somewhere in 1964, Douglas Engelbart showed a prototype of modern computer with a mouse and graphical user interface. Till then, what was happening is the computer was meant for only the scientists or mathematicians. But with the contribution of Douglas Engelbart, this computer was in a way made accessible to the general public. There are many mathematicians, there are many computer scientists who contributed to the computers. But I picked up these three scientists because their contributions led to the faster development of the computers, and there was some kind of a central idea which led to the modern day computer development. Now that we understood how the computers developed, how the data was stored during the early days of modern computers, can you just think of, pause the video and just think of, isn't it in text files? Yes, it is. Then, do you think we always stored the data in only text files? Not really. We stored the data in spreadsheets also. Why is it we started storing the data in spreadsheets? That is because retrieving the information in text files was difficult. So we started using the spreadsheet to retrieve the information in an efficient manner. Did we always continue to store the data in spreadsheets? Not really. That is where we got semi-structured data formats like JSON files, XML files. Did we always store the data in files? Is there any other way of storing and processing the data? Yes, it is. Thanks to Edgar F. Codd, who invented the relational model in 1969, from that day onwards, we started storing the data in relational databases. What is database? Database is nothing but a collection of related data and its metadata organized in a structured format for optimized information management. So as we know, relational databases were always for transactional processing. They were not for any other kind of a processing. As and when we proceeded, we wanted something for analytical processing as well. That is when we started using a data warehouse. What is data warehouse? Data warehouse is a technology that aggregates the data from multiple sources so that the data can be compared, analyzed for deriving the insights or patterns for business intelligence. Some of the important steps in data warehouse are ETL, that is extraction, transformation, and load. We'll extract the data from multiple sources. and get that to a staging area and then transform that according to the business rules and load that into a data warehouse and further transform and produce the dashboards or analytical reports. In a way, data warehouse is for analytical processing. RDBMS databases are for transactional processing and data warehouse is for analytical processing. We saw storing the data in text files, then spreadsheets, then databases, then data warehouses. Is there any other way of storing and processing the data? Yes, it is. What happened is, if you really see, in the early days, the data and the number of employees in organizations were less. As and when the organization grew by size, the data also grew by multifold. You can see organization grew by from few people to thousands of people. So is the data. With that, we wanted to manage the metadata as well. We started managing the metadata by using a metadata management tools. Now that we have seen text files, spreadsheets, RDBMS databases like Oracle, MySQL, and PostgreSQL, then data warehouse, then metadata management tool. Is there any other way of storing and processing the data? Can you just pause a bit and think? Yes, it is. That is big data technologies. We are in a course of big data technologies. We'll see this in detail. We understood what are the different ways of storing and processing the data, right from text files till the big data. If you look at any of the companies, whether it is a sales company or a big company, how would the data ecosystem would look like? What are the different components involved in the data ecosystem? If you really ask that question, then what would be the answer? Any of the modern data ecosystems where for a medium sized company or a big companies, it will have a component of files. The data will be coming from files. It will be stored in a files. It may be text files, it may be CSV, it may be JSON, it may be XML files. And also the data be stored and processed in RDBMS. Means you will have a component of RDBMS for sure. Apart from that, we do have a component of data warehouse, wherein that we need to extract the data from multiple sources, transform it and load it in the data warehouse and further to produce the reports. We'll also have a component of metadata. We'll also have a component of big data technologies. Any of the modern day data ecosystem of a mid-sized or a big company would have a component of RDBMS, component of data warehouse, component of metadata, as well as big data technologies for a distributed storage and processing. Thank you.